welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome back to another book haul. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I acquired in the month of February, and I will also be doing a giveaway at the end of this video for a copy of House of Sky and Breath. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for the very end where I will talk about how you're able to win. But without further ado, let's talk about all the books that I brought into my home this month. I don't think I did too bad. My stack looks kind of crazy, but I do have 4 chunky books sitting at the bottom of it. So honestly, all in all, it could have been a worse month. I did okay. The first book that I have here on top is Bitter by Quick Gamezi. This is the prequel to Pet, which was released, I believe, in 2020 or 2019. And this one follows the mother from Pet. So Jam's mom, her name is Bitter. And it is a fantastic short story about Bitter, who has grown up relatively unfortunate. She bounced between foster houses and she's finally at this school where she feels like she's safe and she belongs. And her biggest struggle at the moment is trying to figure out whether or not she has the courage to stand up against the people and the world that she lives in regards to racial and social injustices. And all of her friends and the people that she surrounds herself with are all very pro riots and boycotts and just going out on the front lines and being the people that are fighting for change. And Bitter really struggles with that. It's hard for her to put herself out there because she spent so much of her life scared and trying to find a place to be safe, and so she doesn't know how to do that. But you find out in the first book that Bitter is able to paint really incredible paintings, and with a drop of blood, she's able to pull those paintings out and make them real sentient beings. And after a pretty traumatic incident that involves one of Bitter's friends, she decides that she's had enough, and so she creates a monster and pulls it out of this painting in order to help the people of her town have a little bit more equality. Things kind of turn crazy and very strange from there. I won't talk about it too much more because it is a short little book, but it's a fantastic book that has a huge metaphor on the human experience and what monstrous things people are capable of, which is a big theme in the first book as well, and I love that it was pulled into this book and talked about in a really interesting and unique way, while also talking about racism, colonialism, white supremacy, and social justice. So it was really fantastic. Highly recommend it if you are looking for a fantastic short book to read. I also highly recommend Pet. I picked up a few more books by Black authors, the first one being Ray Bear by Jordan E. Fueko. I don't really know too much about this one. I've just heard fantastic things about this book from my friends and a lot of people here on the BookTube community. I know it's a fantasy, but that's pretty much it. The tagline here says, "What if you're sworn to protect the one you were born to destroy?" So that sounds very good. I've heard nothing but good things about this one, as well as the sequel, so I'm really hoping that I can get around to this one ASAP and hopefully really love it. Also, I did not address my shirt. I know that I'm wearing a shirt that is in a completely wrong season. Just pretend that this says like flowers and iced coffee and beaches or something. I don't know. Up next, we have Jackpot by Nick Stone. I have heard about this one a long time ago. This was on my list of books to get when I was first getting into BookTube and watching people's favorites of the year lists and hearing people's recommendations. I've had it on there for a really long time, and then they recently changed the cover of this. And so I was like, ooh, I really want to pick this up. This has to do with a girl who I believe wins the lottery, $100 million. And like how much that changes her life and the people that are coming in and out of her life because of the money. I think. I could be wrong about that. I don't really know. Don't quote me on it, but I've heard good things, and I have heard really good things about Nick Stone's writing. I've read a few of her works in short story collections, so I'm excited to read one of her full-length novels. Then I picked up a male self-published romance. This is by K.A. American. This is a very interesting novel. It is a motorcycle club novel with a male relationship at the center of it. It is a hate to love romance that has to do with a man that comes into town, of this motorcycle town, and to do like a show, a rock show, a musician show, and he ends up with the main character Roach. And Roach is a closeted gay man. Nobody really knows about his desires to want to be with a man, and because he's in a motorcycle club, a lot of that stuff is frowned upon by a lot of the guys that are in this very conservative town. Basically, he ends up with this guy and he tries to steal his wallet, and things kind of get blown out of proportion from there. And the other character, Zane, is left to get beat up by the remaining members of the motorcycle club. He ends up burning down the motorcycle club and everybody in it, and he believes that Roach also dies. 2 years later, he ends up back in this town to do a gig, and he sees Roach there. And during that time, he's like, okay, you know what? I need to finish what I started. I'm going to kill him. But he finds out that Roach and Zane's pain are linked. So he ends up cutting him him, and he also has a cut on his stomach. So it's a relationship between them. Obviously, it's hate to love because they literally want to kill each other, or at least Zane does. But they can't do that because one person's pain is the other person's pain. I've heard really good things about it. I did start it. I'm currently 120 pages into this one. I didn't love it when I first started it, but I'm very curious to see what I'm going to feel about it when I get to the end. I think Clint recently finished it and gave it a 4 stars, so I'm interested to see how I like it. Up next, we have Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wassemer? Sure. This is a collection of short stories that has to do after the events of the Mortal Instruments. I don't know too much more than that. I did try to read the first story in this and realized that I didn't remember enough about the Mortal Instruments to read this, so I am going back to do a reread of the 6 books in the Mortal Instruments series before I go back to this short story collection, but I've heard really good things. Clint really loved this one, and I'm excited to get around to it as soon as I can. Then we have Skin to the Sea by Natasha Bowen. This is an Owlcrate special edition of this book. I think it's Owlcrate. Yes, Owlcrate special edition of this book. I have heard really good things about this one. This one was on my list for quite some time before Owlcrate did a special edition of it. I do love the gilded spray edges. It's also just a really gorgeous book underneath as well. I don't remember too much about this story or what it entails. What it says here is, a way to survive, a way to serve, a way to save. Simi prayed to the gods once, and now she serves them as Mamiwata, a mermaid collecting the souls of those who died at sea and blessing their journeys back home. This one kind of reminds me of The Deep by River Solomon. I think that's the right book I'm thinking of. But like I said, I've heard good things about this, so I'm really excited to get around to it. Then in the same book box, I got a copy of The Ivory Key. This is by Keisha Rahman. I have already received a copy of The Ivory Key in a book box. This one actually came from Owlcrate, and this is an Owlcrate edition. It does have some really beautiful sprayed edges, so I have decided to keep both, but I wanted to show you the difference. I believe this is the UK cover and this is the US edition. So in case you were interested, I did get 2 of these books. This one I got in January, this one I got in February. This says, Vera is desperate to establish her legacy as a revered Maharani of Akosha, but with the country's only quarries running out of magic, a precious resource that has kept Ashoka safe from conflict for centuries, she can no longer protect the citizens from the looming threat of war. That's all I'm gonna read. I've heard good things about this one so far. I haven't really heard any negative reviews about this book since it's been out, so I'm really excited to get around to this and hopefully see if I like it enough to keep 2 copies. Then we have The Dating Plan by Farah Roshan. This is the second book in the Boyfriend Project series, which I read in February, and I enjoyed it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't really know why I bought this book, seeing as I'm unhauling the first book, because I didn't feel like it was good enough to reread, but I saw this at Target and I wanted to support some more Black authors, so I figured I would snag it up, and if I don't end up wanting to reread it, that's okay. I can give it to somebody else that's excited for it. But this one follows one of the 2 other women that was mentioned in the first book. The first book basically follows 3 women that get catfished by the same man, and they decide to create a plan for the next 6 months. They're gonna swear off men and focus on themselves. And so this one follows Taylor, I believe. She runs like her own like health business, so she does like personal training and stuff. And this is a friends to lovers fake dating, maybe romance. Heard really good things about this one. Really excited to get around to it. I have good faith that this one's going to be better than the first one. I really liked the aspects and the setup for the other 2 women's perspectives, so I'm excited to see if I like this one. Then the book that I got in my Owlcrate Junior box, A Comb of Wishes. This is by Lisa Stringfellow. I believe this is like a Little Mermaid retelling, maybe. Quick crack, this is a story. Keela used to see beauty in the sea glass she collected with her mother on the Caribbean beaches of St. Rita. But since her mother's death, Keela has felt every bit as broken as the sea glass that is known as the mermaid's tears. When Keela and her friend Lissy stumble across an ancient-looking comb in a coral cave, Keela knows that she should leave it alone. And yet, with everything she has lost and the strange pull she feels to the comb, she can't help but bring it home with her. Far away, deep in the cold ocean, the mermaid Ophelia, can feel that her comb has been taken. Despite her hatred of all humans, her magic requires that she must make a bargain, a comb in exchange for a wish. Keela knows what she wants most in her heart, and that is for her mother to be alive. But a wish as big as this will exact an even bigger price. Sounds like a really cute middle grade. It's also written by and about Black main characters, so really excited about this one. Another Owlcrate Junior book that I got was The Unforgettable Logan Foster by Sean Peters. I believe this has to do with Logan Foster, whose parents are superheroes. That's pretty much all I remember from the synopsis. It's a very long synopsis, so I'm not going to read it, but it does sound really cute. I do love having more options for middle grade choices on my shelves, so thank you so much to Owlcrate for sending this over to me. I also picked up the hardcover special edition of Katie Wismer's first book in the Marionette series, The Marionettes. This is what the hardcover edition looks like. It's absolutely gorgeous. I did pull the paperback so you can see the difference if you are interested in also picking up a version for yourself. They are still on sale, and I believe she's going to be doing hardcovers for the rest of the series as well. But I absolutely adore this hardcover version. I love the paperback as well. I think it's really, really gorgeous, but I just like the black. It definitely gives more ominous, spooky, fantasy vibes. This follows Valerie Darkmoor, who is a very well-known witch from a very well-known witch family. Basically, in this world, witches and vampires kind of work together and they sustain each other. And Valerie is about to start her trials into the Marionettes, which is like an elite level of witches that are tasked with taking care of and helping the highest and most elite people of the vampires. So, but things start to happen during her trial, and she's worried that her life might be at stake and not just her trials. So I really enjoyed the first book in the series. I thought it was really, really well done. I enjoy Katie's writing. I think she's a fantastic writer. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I talk about her a lot on my channel. She is a booktuber and author-tuber here on YouTube, and she has published now 6 books with a 7th book, a poetry collection, coming out in just a few months. And then I believe the sequel to the 3rd book in the Marionette series is coming out at the end of the year. So very excited to have both of these in my collection. This also has some really cool like special things included in here. There is like annotated chapters from the back of this, a chapter from the male main character's point of view in this as well, and some really cool like chapter headings and stuff. So I love this special edition, super glad to have it. So yeah. Then I got my first copy of Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. I cannot remember. This is a Farraloot version. I also got an Owlcrate version of this book as well. This is a really cool book. I love the stenciled edges on here. Absolutely gorgeous. It also has some really pretty end papers, as well as a really gorgeous Under the Dust Jacket foiled art. This one follows Joan, who goes to spend some time with her eccentric family at 16 years old. She loves the job that she has at this very historic Holland house, and she is just starting to date a new boy named Nick, but she finds out that her family is not just eccentric, they are monsters, and Nick isn't just a cute boy, he is actually a monster hunter who is very hellbent on taking down her family, so she ends up having to work with somebody from a family that doesn't like her family. His name is Aaron Oliver, and apparently she's not the hero of this story. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. I've heard really good things about this so far, and like I said, now I have 2 copies, so I should get around to this one and see if I need to keep one. And the last book that we're going to talk about before we get into the giveaway is This Woven Kingdom. This is by Tahara Mafi. This is the Owlcrate Special Edition. I absolutely love this special edition. It gives me the Starless Sea vibes. This is printed straight onto the hardcover, no dust jacket. It is absolutely gorgeous with these really beautiful sprayed edges. I do not know too much about this one. This says, clashing empires, forbidden romance, and a long-forgotten queen destined to save her people. I have read Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi, as well as not an Emotion of Great Delight, but A Large Expanse of Sea. I've also read that one. I enjoy her writing. I didn't absolutely love Shatter Me, which is why I haven't continued on with the series, even though I do own almost all of the books in that series. But I'm very excited for her new fantasy book. I've heard really good things about this one so far, so hopefully I love it. And finally, we're going to talk about the 4 copies of House of Sky and Breath that I acquired this month. Lucky for you, I will not be keeping all of these books, but I will be keeping 3, so let's talk about those. Of course, I have my tour edition by Sarah J. Maas, obviously. This is the 2nd book in the Crescent City series. The first one being House of Earth and Blood, the second one obviously being House of Sky and Breath. I absolutely love this book. I have already read it, gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. If you'd like to see my spoilery thoughts on this book and the first book in the series, you can go check out my video. I will leave it in the cards above, but I did love it. I'm so happy to have the tour edition. I wish that it was signed, but alas, I'm really happy to just have it nonetheless. This is what it looks like all the way around. It does have a ribbon bookmark, and I'm very excited for that. I do also own Books A Million exclusive edition, as well as the Waterstones exclusive edition. This one has a chapter from Rune in the back. This one has a chapter from Bryce and Hunt in the back, which is the reason why I own these copies. I did really want them. Also, the Waterstones exclusive edition has a little bit of a different spine. I think that all of the Waterstones books have this spine, but not just the exclusive edition, but this one as well. Very excited to have these. Like I said, I love Sarah J. Maas. I needed an extra copy to go on my shrine anyways, so I was going to buy 2 copies regardless, and then of course, if I had the chance to get the tour edition, there was no way I was going to pass that up. But the copy that I'm giving away is actually the Target exclusive edition. This has Therian's chapter in the back of it, and I'm very excited to give this one away to you. I wanted to pick it up on release day, so I went to Target and picked it up just in case I didn't get a copy when the book released so that I could read it on release day, which I didn't do anyway, so it was totally pointless, but I'm glad I get to do a giveaway with this book. Obviously, I would recommend reading the first book in the series before you pick this up. It totally makes sense to do so, or else you would spoil yourself. But if you are looking to get a copy of this book and just don't have the funds to do so, or just don't have the opportunity to get it on your own, I would love to give somebody a copy of this. So the giveaway for this is going to be super, super easy. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel, obviously, like this video, and then just comment down below your favorite Sarah J. Maas character. It does not have to be a Sarah J. Maas character from the Crescent City series, although if one of your characters that's your favorite is, that's totally fine. But this just gives you an opportunity to still win it if you have never read this series. Now, if you've never read a Sarah J. Maas book at all, and you absolutely want to win the copy of the second book, then I recommend just commenting down below which book you're most excited to read out of all of Sarah J. Maas's books. That being said, oh my gosh, there will only be one winner. Obviously, I only have one copy, and this will only be US only. I apologize, but shipping to anywhere outside of the US right now is very, very expensive, and I do not have the means to ship outside of the US, but I would love to give somebody the opportunity to win this. So like I said, subscribe to this channel, like this video, and comment down below your favorite Sarah J. Maas character, or what book you're really excited to read from Sarah J. Maas. I feel like I'm out of breath. I'm very excited to give this to you. This giveaway will go for 3 days. So when this video comes out, you will have 3 full days to comment all of that stuff in the comments below, and then I will pick a winner and I will reach out to you in the comments, and then from there we can facilitate a means of communication. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have read any of the books that I talked about today and what you thought of them. Let me know if you have read House of Sky and Breath and House of Earth and Blood and what you thought of the ending. I would love to hear your thoughts. Obviously, spoiler free, so nobody reads the comments and is spoiled, but I would love to hear your, if you were shocked, if you didn't like it, if you loved it, love to hear your thoughts. So that being said, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And of course, leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Baby, turn it down like a sweet and ready. Boys, keep it nice and steady.